Hey guys, welcome back to Vince Vale Custom. So today I got kind of a really good treat for you guys and something new to the channel. This is Taboolicious Vanessa Sculpt, his own creation of his own drawings that he commissioned Roberto Von Behr to actually sculpt up. And he contacted me a while back and he says, I'm having Roberto sculpt this item. It's my own creation. Would you be willing to paint it up because I see your videos and stuff? And I said, yeah. I said, show me the stuff. I'm always love Roberto sculpts. And I like to see more about what you're doing because I love to see all types of sculpts. So he sent me this sketch of his own character, Vanessa, and she's going to be sitting on a desk. And I said, man, it's a really great drawing. I mean, you've gone above and beyond already of how you want Roberto to sculpt this. So the idea is he's a little bit more adult themed artwork. So if you want to check out his stuff in the description, it's not safe for work. So I just wanted to warn you guys now. But you can see what he's going for. The top is more cheesecake, and the topless version will be a change of torso, but we can't show that in the video. But when we do a follow-up video, when he's ready to do the pre-orders and stuff, then you guys can see from there. But, this is like the lost art of producing a statue. You don't get to see the drawings and sketches that people do anymore, and I really would love to see more sketches and stuff from companies. But what Taboolicious is doing is, he did the position of how he wanted her sitting on the desk, how he wants her arm behind the head, how he wanted the outfit opened and stuff, the hair, the biting of the lip of the head, the lips and stuff. It's just, you don't get to see this anymore, and he went above and beyond, especially when you do traditional sculpting that Roberto does. It's better to have everything in detail and proportion on paper, so you could go to town on it right away, and you don't have to keep going back and forth, because 3D sculpting is spoiling people these days, because we don't get to see really what's involved like it was back in the day with all this stuff, as I could say. So you can see here, he proportioned the eyes to the nose, the mouth, on the head, and how he wanted to sculpt it, and he designed all the hair, gave it, each section, left, right, side, and all that stuff, really, really well done. It's really, he really drew this stuff to the point where the sculptor has every detail on paper right away. So you can see what he did with all the hair, and then over here he could, did it in sections, and just gave a lot of good detail to Roberto, and the final result is just amazing, and I really just like it a lot. So what we're going to be going on to next is we're going to be going on to the stages of 3D sculpt, so you guys can actually see from what's next and involved to, the final sculpt, and we'll talk about the finished one at the end. Okay, so whenever you start off sculpting, you have to build an armature. So what Roberto did here is he created a wireframe, and he starts putting his clay all over it. So you got to have the elbows, the torso, the legs, the hips. Everything's got to be kind of in proportion where you got to start it. So you can see how Roberto set up the desk too, and the basic desk, and just starts getting it, working it, and just positioning everything out. So it's really interesting to see how like this will end up at the final result. Okay, so this is the head sculpt, and I guess this is where Roberto started off before he actually bit the lip. So I guess they were going to do, I think, a change of head too in the beginning, but then they decided to do one head. But you can see how Roberto has the head separate from the body now. So I guess it's easier to sculpt it this way, so you can do a lot of changes than actually on the sculpt and then add it later. So this is where he actually takes the lip and he starts to bite it, and I guess he changed it. Like I said, I was following the process with them, and it was really cool to see how he kind of bit the lip and changed it up a little bit. So it's kind of cool, you have the head separate from the body, you can sculpt it, and then you add it later. So it's kind of a really cool whole process, and really nice how he kind of smooths it out too, and just kept everything in proportion. Okay, so here I guess he changed up the eyes a little bit more, the eyebrow areas and stuff like that. And I think he cleaned up the lips a little bit more. So the way Taboolicious would do, he would do a lot of Photoshop work, and I think he would ask him to tweak stuff so you can see how things are changing and they're progressing. Okay, this is the really cool part. What Taboolicious did is he went into Photoshop and he did tweaks, and he gave Roberto, positions, where he wanted stuff tweaked and how he wanted stuff changed. So it's kind of good to actually know Photoshop. So you could take the picture that Roberto took and you could say, well, I want this tweaked a little bit more. I want this raised. I want this taken down. It's easier than trying to explain it in an email. And I've actually helped people in the past too myself where they're working on a 3D sculpt and like I don't know what to tell this sculptor to do, so I'll actually go in Photoshop for them and I'll tweak it and they're like, yeah, okay, now the sculptor actually understands what's going on. It's always easier to know a little bit Photoshop work to make life easier than to say, oh, I just need that tweaked, and the sculptor's, I don't know what you're talking about. So it kind of helps. Okay, so you can see here in this picture there's some pegs sticking out of her body plus some Photoshop tweaks. And at this part of the process, where Roberto is he's got the full body kind of not baked yet, and she's still one solid piece. And he's taking pictures of the desk size and how he has all the angles going, all the tweaks he's done, her position and stuff. So right now, before he's ready to start keying, which means he's going to start cutting the legs and torso and arms up, because it's not baked yet. And I guess the way, like I said, I'm learning how Roberto sculpts. Once he starts getting ready to key, what he does is he adds those little pegs of wires to hold the pieces together so he can still sculpt and make everything even, but still, keep everything in position. So you can start to see all those little pegs there sticking out of her body. I guess he's going to start getting ready to where he's going to start keying stuff and making sure you can see it in the back now. Stuff is starting to get keyed, and those little pegs actually keep the pieces together. So you can keep sculpting, and the arms and torso are separated. So it's kind of like a cool little design, and this is, I guess, the way they always done traditional stuff and the way he does it. So, if he was to pull those pieces out, she would fall apart. But everything's still proportioned and still even at the moment. Alright, so I guess what's going on here is Roberto's doing a lot more fine detailing, working out the leg muscles a little bit more, knees, ankles, shoulder blades, getting ready for the outfit prep. You can see these pegs. Maybe you could see the seam lines a little bit more of how he's going to have everything keyed now, getting everything ready, working out a lot more, I guess, of the back muscle structure too. Like I said, I don't know at this point if it's baked or not, but I do know that when he starts baking stuff, he buffs stuff out and he makes everything super smooth. So I don't know, at this point maybe it is, maybe it's not, I'm not really sure. But it's just seeing the process though of how he works is just amazing. Just we got from that armature wireframe and we're at this point already, and we still got a ways to go. So it's really, really cool. And I really like how he takes his pictures too. You get to see the sculpt a lot. Okay, so at this point, I'm pretty sure he's baked it by now, and he's starting to buff it out. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure it's baked at this point because it seems like it's baked and buffed, because I know he uses a Dremel tool and he buffs it all out like if you were going to buff metal or something. And we're going to get to the point pretty soon where you can see how it's all in pieces. So it's like he's got the anatomy done, everything's ready to go, it's all keyed up in pieces, so he's going to start doing all the detailing next. But it's really cool how you can see now it's all pieced up and it's all set up and ready to go. So this part of the process is really cool. I really enjoy this one, especially the hair. But you can see he's actually got the hand sculpted now. He's got the hair on the head, and he's starting to take pictures and send it to Taboo about, this is where everything's at now. Just different angles. It's really coming together. He's starting to work out the back of the jacket too, and just get a lot of the details going. I just love how he sculpts hair though, man. It's very stylized, and it's just really, I really like the way he goes about it. But the way you can see the back of the jacket is you're just adding another section onto it. So you're starting to add section after section after section over the basic body. And you always got to work out the basic body first, But what's going to happen soon is Taboo basically takes these pictures and he starts doing tweaks in Photoshop on how he wants some things changed. Traditional sculpt, it's always harder, because just the way things, but like 3D sculpting, you push a couple buttons and you're done. But you can see how it's all coming together. It's pretty cool. He's got the neck muscles in there. He's got the lip bit, the hair. So right here is where, he's doing some tweaks to the hair. He wants a little bit more volume, a little bit more angles, and just tweaking stuff in Photoshop so you get an idea what's going on. So then Roberto pretty much starts changing those pieces and stuff. So you can see how he wants some things changed up. It's really cool, though. I really like this process. You know, it's really great to have both 2D and 3D sculptor working together to get a really cool design. Alright, so here is he's starting to work out the outfit a little bit more. He puts up the collar. I forget the material he's using for the collar. I'm pretty sure a lot of guys out there might know when they watch this video. But you can see he's got the hair a lot detailed up now. He did a lot of those tweaks. He's preparing to get the, you know, the business suit jacket onto her. He's also making sure the hair and the hand fit correctly. You know, because you got to make sure when you put the arm in first, and then you put the hand on, you know, the head on second. So that's how it's going to work out. But you can see how it's just buffed up and shined. At one point, what we're getting to is Taboo would basically do a little bit more tweaking to the hair and some line work, and then Roberto would just do some changes up afterwards. But it's really, really cool on how they work together. So you can see, you know, he just wants some things changed up in the back, and then does it in Photoshop just to give him an idea. Okay, so what's going on here is Roberto did a lot of detailing on the jacket. He's got the, you know, the sides of the jacket sculpted, the back, and he went really, really crazy with some details. And I think what happens is he wanted some of it changed because it was too detailed. It was more of a business suit. It wasn't more of like a fancier jacket. So sadly, I think some of these details were taken out. But you know, that's kind of what he wanted with the sculpt. More of a businesswoman than actual, you know, fancy jacket. But Roberto went to town on those details, man. That's just amazing. You know, but some of this was taken out. But you could see these adding up the shirt, working around the jacket, getting the wrinkles going, and just prepping stuff up. It's really crazy how that all works out, just working in section after section. Okay, so at this point what he's doing is he's detailing up the desk. He created all these little computer, laptop, some of these little extra knickknacks for the desk. But the cool thing about this kit is when it's finished, you don't have to use these pieces. You could go to like a hobby store and you can add other things if you want. But you know, he's just making sure that the shoes are looking good now, the lower body, all the details on the feet are going pretty well. So it's really coming together now. Okay, at this point, I think what they told me is Roberto was going on vacation, so he actually sent out the upper torso to be molded and casted to make a copy. So what it is at this point of the stage, it's best to actually stop what you're doing, make a resin copy of the item, so this way you can take the item and go in one direction where it's the cheesecake with the jacket and on and the bra, and then the other one you can resin copy, you can change it up, and then you can make the topless version, because you don't want to sculpt all the final item then make a copy and have to chisel all that out. So it's good to stop at one point. I forget what they call it. I guess they call it like crap mold or quick mold, where they take an item, they make a quick copy of it so they could go in a different direction with that. So I think, you know, that's what they do with heads sometimes. If they're going to keep the same head, but they're going to do a change of hair, so what they'll do is they'll make a copy of the head, and then you can sculpt a different hair on that head. So it's kind of like the same process. Okay, so at this point, Roberto pretty much finished up the sculpt. You can see all the details he did, everything. He followed Taboo's artwork. You know, he finished the bra, the jacket, everything, and it really came out really well. Like I said, it's amazing to see somebody sculpt from beginning to end and come exactly like the artwork of what they were going for. So I think when he came back from vacation and he made the torso, he just went to town and finished everything up. Added all the wrinkles to the skirt, the jacket, the bra, finished up the cuffs on the edge of the jacket, took out some of the details on the jacket as well. He did do the other torso as well, but like I said, I can't really show that until you guys are ready to pre-order, and you could go there when we give you all those info. But really great sculpt, really great process. Hopefully you guys enjoy this. We're going to do a follow-up because I actually have the item in hand right now, and I'm going to kind of go over that in real time. But just gives you guys an idea if you ever wanted to commission somebody to do some stuff. If you're prepared with your 2D artwork, you can find the sculptor to kind of come to this end of it, even if it's a 3D sculptor. Okay guys, so here is the original sculpt from Roberto. It's really cool that I actually got to have this in person and see it and just look it over and see the things that he did it's really great to see this type of stuff. So it's also kind of cool to share with you guys, you know, the whole process on how everything works, and you know, from going from the 2D design all the way up to the finished sculpt, and then you got to send it to the molder and caster. You make copies, and then everybody can get a copy, and they can paint it their own way and put it on a shelf. So it's a really cool process that I think a lot of people forget or don't know what goes into these items. So I'm really cool to share this with you guys, like I said before. So what happened was, Taboolicious pretty much had Roberto finish it up, and wasn't really ready to get it to a molder and caster. He contacted me a while back, like I said, you know, of you know, wanted me to paint it up. So because I'm in the hobby, I've been helping him and, you know, just guiding him through like the production stuff. I'm learning a little bit extra as I go. I know enough to a point. So when I went to Jersey Fest, I talked to a lot of guys who've been in the hobby a long time, and they said, if you're going to be sending this item out to Ownage to make copies, because Ownage is going to be doing the whole making copies of this, instead of doing the 3D print, they're going to actually take a traditional and make copies and sell it as a kit. It's better for it to get a master copy. So Roberto from Brazil sent it to me, and I have the item, and so now after I'm learning all this stuff, what we're going to do is we found a master caster where he's going to make a mold and make 2 good, really nice resin copies, so we can send 1 copy out to Ownage, and then what they can do is they can you know, take that resin copy and make the molds and the kits and set them all up in boxes. But the thing is, if we sent the original sculpt and it went there, what would happen is, if say it broke in shipping or it got lost or damaged, you know, all of a sudden we're out the original sculpt. So it's kind of a better idea to do the master caster. So one of the guys at Jersey Fest was kind enough to introduce me to a master caster. I contacted them, and they said, well, you know, it's best to set up a couple of these pieces so this way you can do 1 mold instead of all these crazy molds. So what after talking with Ownage too, this desk it was in 3 pieces. You had this piece here, and this piece here. So after talking to them, what I did is, on my end, I attached the desk. And then what I did is, for Taboolicious, he wanted me to kind of seam in the edges, because they were just blocks of wood on there. So I seamed up the edges, and what I've been doing is I've been cleaning up underneath here and just getting it all set up. So I'm doing like my little end before we send it to the master caster so he can make copies. So there's, you know, little things as you go. So what I found out too is a lot of people who do traditional sculpts that send it to molders, sometimes the molders got to do some tweaking here and there just to make the items work for, you know, making copies. So we're learning that as I go and making sure everything goes. So this would be kind of cool for Taboolicious to get this item out for his fans, and any of you guys who watch my channel, you're looking to get this kit down the line. So we'll do a follow-up video down the line when it's ready to do his pre-order stage, whether it's a Kickstarter or doing pre-orders, so he knows how many he wants to make and stuff. So that's a cool thing too, what I tell people. When you do your original creation and your original sculpt, you're not limited to how many you can do because you're worried about licensing fees, or, you know, you're worried about companies coming after you because you don't have the license or the rights to the character. This is his own character, so you could do whatever you want. You can make it an open-ended casting, or you could say, we're only going to make it to, you know, maybe 30 people are interested, and that's all we're going to do. So, you know, it's really cool. So I'm going to show you a little bit more about the sculpt. Like I said, it is a change of torso, not a change of head or arms, it's just a torso, but that's more of an adult theme, so we're not going to show it in the video. When it's up for pre-order and you're ready to go, maybe do a pre-order when, you know, I do another follow-up video, you can see a little bit more of the detail. So we'll kind of show you some of the parts now, just to kind of go over it. So one of the things is, what happened is in shipping, when I got it, this little piece broke off. It was very fragile, so I'm working out this piece to kind of repair it before we send it out. But you can see how Roberto sculpted this stuff. I really love how he buffs the sculpt, and it's nice and smooth. So the way he set it up is this piece kind of connects into here, so when you get your kit, you'll be able to put it like that. And one of the cool things too is, like, when you do your original sculpt, you can use metal, wood, or whatever, but when you cast it up, it's going to turn into resin anyway. So when you make your mold and you cast up, it's resin. So it's kind of cool that you're able to use all these parts. Now, she doesn't have her heels on. Roberto sculpted it without the heels. I talked to the master caster. What I'll probably do is just glue these in when I send it to him, because he said you really don't need to have the heels separated. So we'll probably attach those two. So that kind of clicks right into the desk like so. So that's really cool. I mean, Roberto's just an amazing sculptor. I can't rave about his sculpts enough. I really like working on his items. So you can kind of see how that fits in. Now, I'm going to be very careful while I put this item up, because I don't want anything to drop. So we're going to put the torso in the head, but not the hands. So the way the torso is, he set up the nice little key like so. You can kind of see how the keys are set up. So when Ownage gets it, they can actually have holes and stuff set up, so where you can put magnets in. So you can actually set it up where it's a magnet, so you can see how that really worked out. Really, really great sculpt. And it's a 1/6 scale, so like I said, it's really love his detail. His attention to all this detail is pretty cool. And I'm handling this like a baby and being very careful because I don't want anything to drop. But I really love Roberto how he sculpts hair too. It's very like stylized. And he really did a cool job with this head. So this piece connects into the top of the body like so. And then there you go. You have a really, really cool looking sculpt. So just by looking at this too, I've been kind of just seeing how Roberto does stuff, and it's really just cool. I've been trying to get a couple ideas too of what he does, so it's just really cool. One of the things I love the way he sculpts is when he does wrinkles. Like you can see this little wrinkle here from the thigh area and there, so you can kind of see how those wrinkles are. And you can see the wrinkles in the jacket. Did a lot of nice little details in the bra area and stuff. So it's really cool. I'm really kind of excited to see this and just show you guys, you know, original sculpt, original design, original character just came to life. So that's pretty much where we're at with this. You know, you can see some of the hands here. There's a little bit pieces over in here. I'm not pulling all those out. You can see over here, these are the heels to the shoes. And then here's the arms. So you can see, and like I said, I want to be very careful. Like original sculpt and Sculpting, I'm very like, I never really worked on it. I did a couple things, so I don't know how fragile it is, so I want to be very careful. But if this was like a resin copy, I know how strong resin is, so I would know how to handle a little bit better. So I'm just kind of being very, very careful, making sure nothing drops. So that's pretty much where we're at. I just wanted to share with you guys and show you guys, you know, like the whole process. Give you guys a nice little treat of a different type of video. Just to, you know, and maybe a lot of you new guys into the hobby, now you can get an idea of really what goes on and what's, you know, involved with getting a kit to this kind of point. So what I'm going to do is finish all this up. We're going to get it out to the master caster. He's going to make the copies. We'll send it out to ownage. And then what we'll do is maybe down the line when we do a follow-up video, depending on how the process goes, I'm not really sure yet. If we do 2 master copies and we send out 1 master copy and ownage gets it and they start making the copies and everyone does pre-orders and that's rolling, maybe with the other master copy I might be able to start doing the paint up for Taboolicious, where we can use that resin copy and get a nice good paint up going instead of waiting for ownage to send out copies. But we're going to see how things process. I'm really not sure yet, but it's kind of like a good learning experience of being a producer and knowing what needs to be done, what doesn't need to be done, and also getting involved with costs and prices. So that's pretty much where we're at. So hopefully you guys liked the video, something a little bit different. Thanks for watching, and we'll look for a follow-up video within a month or 2, depending on how things progress. I'm pretty sure this might be ready around 2019 era in the beginning of the year, you know, for pre-orders, and we'll see what things go on. But things take time, but if you do it right, it'll be worth it. So thanks for watching, and we'll be back with some more videos.